Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Out the Box Radio Show. We have Miss Tanya Sam from the Real Housewives of Atlanta on the phone.
Pull up on him.
Yeah.
I love it. She starts with a laugh. I love it.
That was me.
How are you doing today, Tanya?
I'm good.
Now, we have a lot of questions in store, Tanya, so I really hope you're ready.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, I'm ready. I mean, it's happening. What we got?
Well, and honestly, you know, a lot of people, so I've watched a lot of your interviews you've done so far, and it's a good mixture between your career and then, of course, the show Real Housewives of Atlanta. So we first want the viewers and the listeners right now to know a little bit about what you do aside from the show, and then we're going to transition a little bit later into the series itself. So first, I want to dive into your job, your career. So you work in the field of technology, helping women and minorities pursue opportunities in business and tech, which is amazing. So kudos to you for that.
Yes. That's
Thank you.
Absolutely. And we're interested in knowing, like, what was it like transitioning from your previous career in nursing and health into the business and technology world? Because that's two different spectrums right there.
Okay, in a nutshell word, I would say it was crazy. But I kind of am a little bit of an adventurer. So, I mean, well, I don't know if you guys know, but my background is in nursing. I went to school. I have a degree in genetics, cell biology, went back to school, did another Bachelor of Science in nursing, and I specialized in oncology, bone marrow transplant, and, you know, started working in there. So I worked in nursing for about 10 years, like bedside, wiping butts, giving chemo, like the whole 9 yards, blood, guts, gore.
Oof.
Loved it. Yeah. Laughed, cried, the whole 9 yards. And then when Paul and I started dating, he was building his third cybersecurity company.
Oh, okay.
And I tell people it's kind of funny, like literally one of our first dates, he was like, we were about to go for dinner. He's like, I just got to do one thing. I was like, okay. He's like, I got to meet this guy for coffee. He's considering starting a company. And so I kind of sat beside him and his co-founder while they were scribbling like these crazy notes on a napkin at a Starbucks.
Right. Oh, wow.
And so that lasted about 4 hours, I promise you. And I was like, yeah, this date is kind of lame.
That was quick.
And I was just kind of like looking at what they were doing and like, okay, they're speaking another language. What are they talking about? I mean, it was really, really far outside of anything I kind of knew. Anyways, fast forward, we're still dating because he was super cute. And I was like, okay. And he'd be like, hey, can you help me do this? And anyone who's ever dated an entrepreneur or a founder, it is like all hands on deck.
Right.
There's nothing else but this company. It's like your baby, literally.
Right. Very focused.
So he would, throw me tasks and things to do. And I'd be like, I can't do this. Are you crazy?
Right.
He'd be like, yeah, you'll figure it out. For people like Paul, who are like kind of super smart geniuses, like they tend to just figure everything out and think that everybody else can do that. I would like go to the bathroom and cry. Like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh, no.
Crazy. Yeah.
It's so overwhelming, yeah.
I grew a huge backbone from it, and, you know, I've just been working in the space ever since, and you learn a lot as you go. Like, it's a lot of fake it till you make it.
Yeah, and motivation, though. You make it sound very motivating, so that's good for those who are even interested in getting into the field. Now, what are some of the things that you find, like, difficult, two-parter right here, difficult and rewarding about your job?
Difficult. So the hours, like it is never just a 9 to 5. One thing I loved about nursing, like you clock in and you clock out.
Right.
There is no, I mean, and if you're working overtime, you're getting paid twice as much and it feels so good. That does not exist in the life of like startups and entrepreneurship at all.
Right.
That's tough. Like, yeah, it's intense and ongoing. And you know, that whole thing of like, I can't wait to be an entrepreneur so I can be my own boss.
Yes.
That doesn't happen.
Wow.
Yeah, like, 'cause, I mean, being a boss is lonely and it's hard and there's a lot of pressure. So you're constantly like, you know, if you ain't working, you ain't making money. So
hello.
I think that part's hard.
Yes.
And then what was the second part of the question?
The rewarding part of it. So what do you find rewarding about your job?
Well, you know, right now I spend a lot of time we opened Tech Square Labs with the intention of like helping other early stage founders build businesses.
Right.
And because we kind of own and operate the business and the building, I get to kind of make up a lot of stuff as I go. Like I was like, hey, I want to help women entrepreneurs. Let me start a program. Yeah. So I think that's super rewarding because I get to help other women and other people of color, depending on the program. We run a lot of different programs, so I just get to help other people. And I think one of the things that I find super exciting about being on the show is when people message me, and I get this a lot, and they message me saying, oh my gosh, it's amazing to watch a show like Real Housewives of Atlanta and see, a woman working in technology. Right. Or even, a woman working with her husband who's in tech, who's, raised a lot of money in this field. So that's really cool. That's probably the most rewarding part.
Yes. Now, I will mention this before we get to our next question that Jared has for you. I want to mention this. What I wish they did more on the show was showcase your job and your career. And I mean that for all the women. But Tanya does something so different and unique from the other women. Yeah. And yes, they do get a little bit of exposure in it, but of course that's not what's going to grab the viewers, which we all know. But still, I think people should see that because it makes you so much more respected, so much more of a role model for people. And I know you do that, and I'm sure a lot of your fans do as well. So we love you for that, but I really wish they would show more.
Yeah, I agree. As the only female on this panel.
At this table, yes.
It is very
rewarding.
Girl. Yes, hey mama.
Hi.
It is very rewarding to see that, especially on a show like Housewives of Atlanta.
Right.
It was amazing to me to even see that, oh my gosh, she is in technology.
Right.
Like, usually, they're in fashion or some type of the industry or just don't have a job.
Music, right, exactly. Well, yes.
We're not sure how they get their money.
Flip or flop, yes. Oh, she gets her money from old white men. We know that.
So it is very, very refreshing to see that. Like, technology is something that you don't hear a lot about women, especially women of color. And so that's really dope.
Yes.
And on that,
I love that, and I take it as a huge compliment and something that I take like really seriously because I feel like when I was considering, joining the show and doing this, it was kind of one of my driving motivations for coming on the show.
Absolutely.
Because I just feel like when you watch TV and a show like this with such a huge viewership, there's not a lot of programs that are super popular where you get to see a different side of like urban culture or females working in different businesses. So I was like, you think about the TV shows, like that we watched growing up, and this is going to sound really cliche. I'm not sure, but I grew up and my dad was a gynecologist and obstetrician. He was basically like Bill Cosby without the pills.
Wait a minute.
I'm just saying, But like people used to make those jokes all the time, and I literally grew up, and my dad used to say, okay, when you grow up, you're going to be either a doctor, a lawyer, a dentist, or this. And like, that was it. There was no other choices for us, right? Like my aunts, uncles, everybody was that.
Wow.
But I think also when people watch TV, a lot of us were so protective of Bill because they were like, we grew up like really looking at that family as like, hey, look, he's a doctor. They went to university. They went to all these HBCUs. So like, what do people watch now to like encourage their kids? And where's the representation now for people to go into tech?
Very true. It's the truth.
That's a good transition.
Right. I was gonna say that. I was actually gonna say that. That's a good transition to the question I have, and Jeanne touched on it a little bit. Getting out there and educating folks about the business world and the technology world, not just black women, but women all over the world, and also for the younger generation, like those in my generation. I'm only 24 right now, and there's a lot of us.
Shut up! I'm 40. Okay.
Every time, you come in, do not come for my cheeks right now. Do not
Baby bottle pop.
Do not come for my cheeks right now. All right. Anyway. You was trying to pinch my cheeks.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
Tanya, she was over here trying to pinch my cheeks. I don't know if you can see this on camera. Yeah, the cheeks on my I don't know what type of cheeks you was thinking about.
Oh, Lord.
What is happening over there?
This is what always happens over
here.
Tanya.
This
is what always happens over here. And for some odd reason, every time I speak, this is what always happens. But anyway, let me go ahead and get to this question. In what ways, besides, promoting it on the show, do you encourage others to educate themselves within the industry of business and technology?
Ooh, okay, great question. So, one of the biggest things about, when we had opened Tech Square Labs and like how I felt people could really make shifts and stuff was to like actively get involved.
Yeah.
And, if you talk about like Silicon Valley and places where they have like a huge technology ecosystem, every night of the week, people are going out and they are networking, right? They are going to meetups, they're going to fireside chats. So they're spending a lot of time around other entrepreneurs and people who are trying to like be in that scene. It works. And so whatever city or town you live in, there are tons of meetups and activities around where people are talking entrepreneurship, they're talking tech, and they're just socializing. So I encourage people, if you're just thinking about it, like check out some of those things. We do a startup battle every quarter where we have like over 500 different early stage companies apply to pitch on stage for $100,000. Like go to a pitch competition, go to a startup battle. Yeah. Like hang out and meet people, because what ends up happening is you make connections and people are like, hey, I've got this idea, and you might fall in love with their idea or you might sell them on your idea. And it's kind of the idea, like once you have two people working on an idea, like, okay, you might have something here. So I think that's like step one.
And what was the name of that battle? You said startup battle, just so everyone was clear about it?
Atlanta Startup Battle, yes. So we have another one coming up. It'll be later in this year, probably April. I'm not going to release the date right now, but like late April. And applications will open. I will keep talking about it on my social and Instagram. And, it's free to apply. The application is intense. This is not for like, oh, okay, whatever. But it's for $100,000 cash investment.
Wow.
Pitch on
that's
stage
amazing.
in front of 1,000 people. Like, it's real.
Oh, wow. I mean, yeah, $100,000 is real money.
Right.
So it's major if you're trying to, yeah.
And this is also a great practical way to get people out and, within the industry of business and technology.
So in technology, I have a quick question. Do you get to see like all of the new or featured tech products before everybody else gets to see them?
Okay, I'm going to answer this question twofold.
Okay.
Generally, I would say no. Sometimes reviewers, people who write for magazines and stuff get to see it. Now, once some people are at a certain level and it turns out like, oh my gosh, I'm boys with this person, and they'll ask you to look at it or something, okay? So, for example, there's a popular doorbell that people use that when you push it, a video thing like that hypothetically is one of our friends, one of our early investments. So like he'll be like, guys, I'm sending out a beta product. Can you look at it?
Okay.
That type of thing.
Okay.
But for the most part, like when people are building their products and stuff, they're just heads down building it, and they're going to release it to the world, when people see it. So it just depends on what it is.
Okay. It makes sense. Smart.
So not a lot of playing with the toys while they're in the lab. No.
Right.
I mean, it's so diverse now. It depends. Like, is it like some guy who's like a tinkering and making a drone in his basement?
Oh wow.
Like there's a lot of there's a lot. Like technology is so broad right now. You'll have people who are just like makers who are really into electronics and this, and they're building their own boards and stuff in their basement. Like who knows what they're building, right?
Yeah.
It's just their hobby. So it just depends on what people like to do.
Right.
Real quick before Justin gets into the show, personal question: how far do you think we are from AI as an artificial intelligence?
Yes.
Oh, it's happening. It's happening right now.
Right.
Oh wow.
100% is happening. We use AI for so many different things. For example, basically what AI is giving a machine, such as a computer, a certain set of data, and once it learns the data enough, it's able to make like human-like decisions. So it's like, yes, no. So it like, if you, for example, if you feed a machine enough images of pizza, 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 it knows it's pizza.
Right.
And then once you throw in other variations, it starts to understand the difference between it. So it becomes recognition based on number and data. So we're using it like very much. There was just the new senator. She was just talking about AI, and I just did a talk about it. But they're using AI for facial recognition for crimes right now, and there's a lot of talk about how that impacts, you know, the data sets that people are using. So if you're a white guy at Stanford that is just putting in data sets of typically white people, what happens when the data then becomes skewed because it's not perfect data. It doesn't look at everybody's faces. And so then there's a lot of controversy because it wasn't actually recognizing a dark-skinned person's face.
Okay.
It wasn't sure what to do with it. So we are using AI for so many things right now. Like, it's here. Now, the AI future of the Jetsons.
That's a little bit different.
It's not that far. It's a little bit far, but it's not that far. Like, I was at CES and, you know, Kohler was advertising a mirror that wakes up and when you look in the mirror, it recognizes your face and then automatically starts going, oh, this is Tanya's face. Let me play this music. So there's like a lot of little applications of it that are going to be super interesting, but it's absolutely here. We use it all the time.
Well, I want that, whatever you just said.
That's basically the equivalent of Magic Mirror.
Yeah, I want a face that recognizes me and plays what I want and does what I want.
Yeah, and I mean, it's the Jetsons. It's exactly the Jetsons, like, future that, you know, we all grew up going, like, yes.
Right, before you know it, everyone will be on hoverboards and all that extra stuff.
I don't know about that. I might knock a few.
Right, it has to be an age requirement on that first. So we're going to transition now. So everyone who's tuning in now, and if you've missed the first part, we're talking to Tanya Sam from the Real Housewives of Atlanta. We are actually going to transition now into the series right now. So let's talk about it. Right? It's a lot going on. Let's talk about your experience on Real Housewives of Atlanta this past season. So just walk us down, like memory lane, if you will, of what you just ended up filming over the past, 8 or 10 months. Maybe some highlight moments, and even if you had some challenging moments.
Ooh, okay, that's a lot to ask. Okay, so I mean, we filmed for a very long time. It is not quick. It's a lot of involvement, and to be honest, it's a lot of work because you're filming for several days a week, and that's pretty intense, and you kind of have to learn to balance, work life with filming life and hanging out, which is also the very fun part. So for me, we started off, where did we start off with? With the Bailey Q. So I got introduced to several of the other girls at the Bailey Q, and that was a good time. I think that was a great introduction. It was like, I got to meet, I hadn't met Shamari, so I got to meet Shamari that day.
Oh, nice.
And then, who else? I hadn't officially met Candy, so that was fun. And then where did we go? So then, I think let's fast forward. We had a couple of different scenes, but then we went to Destin in the girls' trip.
Yes, Florida, yes.
It's supposed to have been a couples trip, but it turned into the girls' trip.
Right on, you guys. I was with it.
Right.
Yeah, it was a couples trip that turned into a girls' trip, which was actually, kind of a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
Because, we got a good chance to really bond and hang out. Like, I mean, the drive alone from Atlanta to Destin is long.
Oh, yeah.
I was shocked when I saw that you guys were driving. I was like, oh, okay.
I said, well, dang.
Girl, let me zip my mouth on that because,
And so this past episode that we just saw, you guys are in Tokyo.
Yes.
So you're in Tokyo.
We're in Tokyo.
A lot is happening. Yes, it does look like you all are having fun, but then, things do take a left turn, and I'm sure there's more episodes coming of the Tokyo trip, but just alone with what we've seen so far, it's already beginning to turn. Talk about that just a little bit as well.
So, this last episode ended on a cliffhanger. So y'all will have to tune in. There's a couple of teasers out there. So it's getting pretty intense. Like, we went to this temple, and I loved Tokyo. I just had such a great time there. Like, I love to travel in general. Like, I love to travel all over the world. And so I was really excited to be in Tokyo. That was actually my first time in Tokyo, and I've actually been back since then, which is really funny.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Yeah, I ended up going back in December. Paul and I did this great, it was my 40th birthday, so we did this kind of like epic 3-week Asian extravaganza tour. But anyway, Tokyo was one of our first stops. But yeah, the girls' trip, it got a little fiery there. It got a little fiery.
And it did. And actually, I have 2 questions about that. So the first one, since we're talking about fiery, we all love and know Nene, which is actually a good friend of yours. At least that's what I was thinking before we saw the episode.
Yes.
And she helped introduce you and kind of give you the little buzz in the ear of, hey, you should do the show. So knowing that you have that relationship built over time with Nene, and even being at Swag Boutique, why in this particular scene that we saw was she so serious and kind of adamant towards you about this whole relationship with Paul? I just was kind of confused at where she was becoming, like, it just flipped, and I didn't understand why.
Yeah, I feel like you've got to tune in to see the rest.
Okay.
Because it was, now we understand it a little bit better for what it was and the misunderstanding. And, I'm the type of person where, like, my relationship with Paul is like very special to me. We work together, we play together. Like, I'm like a mama bear, right? And you just protect the things you love. So when I heard them saying like, oh, well, you might marry Paul, you might not marry Paul, I was like, wait a second. Why would you say that?
Right. Exactly.
Because, and I'm very, if I'm your friend, I root for what you root for.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's kind of like do unto others as you would have others do unto you. So I was really confused when I felt like someone wasn't rooting for me.
Right.
I was like, well, why would you wish the opposite? That made no sense to me. So I spoke up about it.
Right.
Yeah, it's weird when people put, they look at your relationship and how long you've been together, and they're like, oh, he hasn't married you by now. Why? Like, you're sticking around. It's first of all, in what rule book does it say that if I'm with this person for a certain amount of time that he has to marry me? We're on our own time span. This is our thing. This is what works for us. We're moving at our own pace. Nobody said nothing about how you and Greg
but
y'all met. You know what I'm saying? Like, it gets really messy. Yeah. So.
And I'm also like, I'm super traditional in my relationship, but I'm also a little, maybe that makes me a little bit, I'm not a millennial by any means, but like, I just feel like, we're not in the 1920s definition of a housewife where a piece of paper defines, I work alongside my husband. We write checks and invest in businesses.
Right.
I'm not this little destitute, reliant woman who has to sit at home and worry that, so I just think it's an evolution of like what people look at in terms of relationships as well, too.
Exactly.
Team.
Now, in addition to that, while we're on the subject of Nene really quick, there was another scene a couple episodes ago where she also got a little bit upset because of the comment she made about her glasses. Now, we all saw that, and for some of us, we didn't know which side we didn't know which side to go on. But I will say this. I understand where you're coming from, and I think that it was misinterpreted. It wasn't supposed to be the way it came out. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't supposed to be harmful or deceiving. It was not meant for that reason. You guys were having fun.
It wasn't shady at all.
It wasn't shady, but so how have you got, I'm sure you obviously will talk with Nene outside the show as well, but how did you deal with, like, overcoming that? Because I think she had called you, I don't know if I'm using the right word, ignorant or something, and I was like, what?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I legitimately did not realize. And none of the girls came up to me in Destin and were like, girl, when you said that, no one said anything. So I'm just bopping around like, woohoo, I won. It was a challenge. Like, and I mean, I don't know. Like, and I thought in my mind what I was doing was going out there and winning this challenge. And nobody expected me. And this is what I kind of love about being like new girl. Nobody thought I was going to win. Like, so many people have written me and been like, girl, we didn't think you were going to win at all. We thought Marlo was going to. And I just love when people underestimate. Right?
Right.
And all you have to say, all you have to say is, like, there's a challenge. Like, I'm going to work hard to win it. So that's what I came to do. But in doing so, I also was trying to shout out Nini's boutique. Like, she's a business owner. She's a businesswoman. You know, she's an entrepreneur. So really, I was sitting there being like, and you can go to Swag Boutique and buy things there, because that's, you know, how I met her. I met her shopping in her store. And I think it just came off maybe the wrong way. And, you know, it certainly wasn't my intention to be shady at all. Like,
I think the only reason why it may have come off the wrong way was because it was in the moment of comparing it to maybe like Chanel or something else. But that's understandable when it's a multi-million or $billion-trillion industry compared to Swag Boutique, who is, you know, maybe one day in your dreams. But I'm just saying, like, you know.
It was just it got misinterpreted in the moment.
You know, and even in my confessionals, people were like, oh, girl. And I was like, it's just different, guys. Like, please understand.
But don't you think that could also attribute to, you know, the kind of culture we're living in, where everybody wants a clap back, or everybody wants, you know, the tea for every single moment?
Yes, for sure. Absolutely. And I just have to apologize, because I was like, that definitely was not my intention. I thought I was being like, hey, shout out.
So I know, like, a lot of stuff happens behind the scenes. What would be the most memorable thing that's happened behind the scenes? It could be something fun, because we know Tanya is fun.
Yes.
She talk about fun. I know I did see a video that you put up on your social media. It was the Ride to Destin, and you guys were playing the game. And I think it was, I'm assuming that Portia was there to stick her finger up your nose. That was on the show. But just even that, because I've met Portia, and she is, to me, is just so fun.
Oh my gosh,
so even in that moment,
love Portia.
Like that, because I don't think that was shown on the show, but just to see that was fun.
That was a perfect example. Okay, and I will tell you more. Here's another one. This, I feel like, is safe. So we were playing Truth or Dare, and I mean, we had this jar that we kept pulling Truth or Dares out of. And for some reason, like, the jar was not being good to me, because I kept picking like the worst. And I love a dare. Like, I'll do a dare. I'm like super
up for the challenge.
Like, I don't care. So my first one was, I don't even know who wrote these stupid things. Like, we all had to write them and put
Production,
them in. I was writing like these crazy. No, it wasn't. We had to write them. So somebody was like, sicko was like, pick someone's nose.
Oh,
so,
God.
Portia, yes. And, you know, Portia is so funny. She doesn't just like stick your finger in your nose. She like literally takes her nose. She like seductively puts her fingernail in my nose and like moves it around all rhythmically. Meanwhile, I was
gives your nostrils a little good massage.
Oh yeah, it was hilarious. It was really, really funny.
I laughed.
Well, it's good that nothing came out, because we know that she has a very clean nose.
They tried to play me and be like, "There's a booger," and I was like,
right, because you know they would have zoomed into that. We already know.
Yes, exactly.
Production is very shady.
Yo, I'm actually thinking about what if, like, the fingernail just had like a nice drip.
Oh my gosh! Wait a minute.
I would have died.
Yes, her nose was perfect.
The record was shown.
I'm just
very clean nose.
Okay.
I do have a question really quick before we get into our next question that Jared has for you. And of course we can't talk too much about it, but knowing that the timing of everything, obviously you finished filming and getting ready to wrap up in probably a few episodes. Have you guys done the reunion yet, or is that coming up? Because I know Candy Beers is actually now on Celebrity Big Brother as of right now.
I'm watching.
Yes, we've been watching.
My mom's watching that now too.
Her and Tamar, girl. And I don't like Tamar with a bald head. I can't deal with the baldness. That's sorry, side comment. I just cannot deal with the. She looks like a chipmunk. I don't like it. But what I will say is, like, knowing timing of it, obviously if Candy's doing that, I was like, well, if the reunion still has to be filmed, they usually film it around the time that the last few episodes will air based on timing, but I don't know if it's already been done yet. So I was wondering, have you guys already filmed?
No, we got a lot more stuff to go.
Really? Okay, well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
we got a good couple, at least 1 or 2 more months probably before they.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I could be wrong. I'm not in production, but like, what do I know? It's my first year, but I'm like, oh no, we got tons.
Right, but okay. Well, that's good to know. That was just my own personal question.
I feel like that I already have the answer to this question because you and Nene do have like a personal relationship outside the show. But who do you like to hang with or speak to outside of filming the most?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, there you go. Like
that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like I have the answer to this, but I had to ask.
No, but I have another answer. So
okay, bet.
I will say, for example, there's like a cool bromance with a lot of the guys too. So like Paul and Dennis are good friends. So Portia and I are good friends.
Oh, good.
Eva and Mike, we all hang out, and she lives close to me. So it's easy to be like, girl, can you get a cocktail?
Right.
And even Shamia and her husband, like we all went out for New Year's and stuff. So I love that because, it's the greatest thing about like coupledom is when you have easy friendships and you never have to drag someone along to be like, man, we got to go out with this couple. So like all the guys really like each other. So that is so much fun. And I love bromances. They're just so cool.
It does. It makes things a little easier.
Yes, it does. And I'm like, the other day, Paul and I were sitting in bed, we're on our laptops working, and he's on his phone, and I'm like, what are you laughing at? He's like, oh, I'm just texting with Dennis. And I'm like,
right. So
like,
friends too.
Do you guys also hang out a lot with Candy and Todd? Or, I'm sure Greg's always with Nene, so that's an obvious, but like, does Todd fit into the bromance area or not as much as the other guys do?
Here's the other thing too. It's also like, in our off seasons, we're all so darn busy, and especially like Candy's like in the Big Brother house with, and has
she has no contact whatsoever. We saw them in LA. We were all out in LA. Well, Paul and I were out in LA like 3 weeks ago, and so we saw Candy and Todd there. Candy and I went out. So it's just like easy stuff like that,
Right. Well, that's what's up.
Okay.
True.
So, in 3 words, describe your experience on the Housewives of Atlanta.
Ooh, okay.
Ooh.
YOLO. You only live once.
First of all.
Oh, that's
First
a
of all.
I haven't heard that one in a minute.
Oh my gosh, I love YOLO. YOLO is like one of my mottos. Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2, sisterhood. And number 3, just fun.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yes. It's a whole different experience.
Yeah.
It looks like a lot of fun.
All right, well let's
I had a lot of fun.
let's flip the YOLO and the fun and the sisterhood. What are some of the exhausting or challenging things when it comes to filming the Real Housewives? Because you got the post-production, the setup, the one-on-one interviews, which I know take a hell of a long time to do.
Sometimes all day long.
Right.
Yes.
I kind of like all that stuff. I know I feel like a little bit of the hard part is being away from my laptop for like extended periods of time. Because you can't just like pull, like, when you're filming all day and you're engaged with the girls, like I do have a little bit of worry, like, oh my God, am I missing an email? Is something like super important? And that's like completely geeky and nerdy. That's a bit tough.
Right.
I feel like I kind of love, I don't know if you're supposed to say this because I'm supposed to be cool or something. I really like the fan engagement.
Well, yeah, no,
that's
that's good. That's a good thing.
Because I just feel like people are being nice right now, and then I do worry about like, oh my gosh, what happens when the tables turn and they're like, oh my gosh, Tanya, we hate you, and start writing mean stuff. I don't know.
I don't know if that could ever happen.
I don't think
because you're so nice and just so bubbly and just so positive all the time, even in the midst
situations
of,
that happen, right?
Issues.
Girl, you just never know. They'll be like, your edges, they look horrible. Oh my God.
That's true.
Talk about pull-up.
Right.
I will say, but again, it also goes back to like the power of editing. People don't know everything that happens in every scenario or scene that really went down, or they could edit it in a way that probably wasn't really that way in real life. You know what I mean? But and then in addition to that, like, yes, Tanya actually is my favorite right now, and Portia was always my favorite before. Sorry, Portia. I still love you though, girl.
I still love
she got the donk. But yeah, I mean, Tanya is very much, and those of you who are viewing right now, you know this. She's very level-headed. Like, she brings that to the table when you have the chaos and craziness being like maybe Portia or Nene turning up and going from 0 to 100, but then you have someone more like maybe, you know, Cynthia, and then of course Tanya, who's that more level-minded person to bring it all together and bring that peace of mind to the girls.
There is always that one in every group though, to like, you know, level it all out.
Right.
And it's not usually, you know, that half of them are crazy and half of them are level-headed. It's always the one or the two that will, you know, encompass it all.
What are some current goals that you have set, and also like what upcoming projects that you have coming up as well?
Ooh, okay. Some of the goals that I have, you know, I'm kind of one of those weird people that like, I'm very much a yes person. Did you ever read that Shonda Rhimes book where she just was like the power of yes, and she like had the year of yes where she was just like say yes, say yes, say yes. Yeah. So I'm trying to just say yes to like more and more opportunities no matter what they are. And I feel like with the show, I've had a lot of just different things come along that I would never have guessed I would have done. I mean, even just like crazy podcasts like yours. So I'm just trying to be more open to more yeses. So one thing I'm super excited about is I'm going to the Dominican Republic.
Ooh!
I love the Dominican. Take me with you.
Please.
Well, wait, let me tell you what I'm going for before you get all excited.
See, y'all thought she was going there for like drinks and the beach.
No.
Yeah, no, it is.
Going to work.
Exactly. But hey, the more the merrier. So one of my besties is a huge philanthropist, and she works alongside like she donates a lot of money and donates her time and blood and sweat and tears to an organization, a humanitarian organization. So I'm going to the Dominican to basically look at some of the programs that she's created, and they're all for like women and youth associations that like help to confront, like, I know this is really deep, but like gender inequality and like gender-based violence in rural Dominican areas that like help Haitian refugees. So yeah, 4 days in the Dominican. So I don't know how much cocktails we'll have.
Well, there's always time for a morning cocktail before you go to your event, as long as you don't get a little too turned.
I'm all for it. I might have to bring my own.
Mimosas are very healthy. That's what I hear.
No, seriously. So I'm really excited about that.
Well, that sounds amazing. I mean, first of all, very powerful, I think. That sounds like an amazing event. It's going to be a bit fun, I'm sure, for you, but also very intuitive. I love it. I hope you post things about it online, because I'm all over your IG all the damn time. So I hope you post about it online.
No, I definitely will. Yeah.
Yes. Good. So for those of you, again, who are tuning in to Out the Box Radio right now on radioonfire.com, we've been doing a wonderful interview with Tanya Sam from the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Yeah. She is still on the phone with us. We are actually getting ready to wrap up our interview. It's been a lot of fun, but we don't want to hold her back for too long. She's busy.
She's busy. She's booked and busy.
She's booked and busy. Hashtag.
So
hello. I do want to ask you that before we depart, please share with everyone your social media and your website.
So people can pull up.
Okay. So I'm probably most active on Instagram, and it's Tanya time.
Woo!
On Instagram. Yep. I love it. I'm also, it's Tanya time on Facebook. I try to keep up with my Twitter, especially when the episodes air. So it's Tanya Sam on Twitter. Okay. You can check out my website, tanyasam.com. What else? Yeah.
Yeah, please go to her website, y'all, because I went there the other day, and it gives a lot of information about what she does, a lot of nice photos as well. But you'll learn a lot, not just from the interview right now, but if you weren't able to tune into the beginning part of it, it will be posted later, don't worry. But also, go to her website. She talks all about her career. So it's a great site. I love it. Whoever helped you with that did a great job.
Thank you. That was me and Paul.
What?
Nice.
Hey.
Girl, you better.
Look at them skills.
You better.
Look at them skills.
Kudos to both of y'all.
I mean, that's what I won't say that's what we do, because there are people out there who do web design and stuff that can do it way better. But like, yeah.
I love graphic design. I usually do all the little flyers and stuff for the show. Like the one we had with It's Tanya Time.
Okay, I loved that.
Do you? I was worried because
Justin over there going to work.
Well, let me tell you something. I think I read somewhere or saw something, because I like to do my research before we bring our guest on, that you love like color or something. So I thought of something that would pop.
Yeah.
And I said, well,
No,
this,
it was really good.
This pops. Yeah. Well, thank you. No, I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun. I enjoy making these things. Yes. Thank you again, everyone. We will be reposting the video, so if you haven't caught the whole thing, you will be catching it all very soon right here on RadioOnFire.com. Out the Box radio show with Tanya Sam. Thank you so much.
Good night, guys.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
Pull up
See
on
ya.
Bye. Pull
Bye.
up. Pull up.
Pull up.
God, Tanya Sam saying that.
So first of all, I love Tanya.
I
Of
love
course.
Tanya.
I wasn't lying when I told her that she's actually my favorite right now. This is her first season doing the show.
I love her and Portia.
Yes. So, and those of you who are still viewing, make sure you tune in every Sunday at 8 p.m. on Bravo, because that's when the new episodes will air. It sounds like, from what Tanya said, there's quite a bit more to go. I'm thinking they're going to end it around the trip, because usually they end the seasons when they're on a trip. So I'm thinking they got like maybe 1 or 2 more episodes. And that's why I was asking about the reunion. But it sounds like we got
They
some
may
more
go on another
juiciness.
trip.
They might. They've been on 2 so far. Dang. Well, we're going to be tuning in, Tanya.
What if they pull up on your cruise?
Wouldn't that be crazy? Well, they already done filming unless they film in season 12.
I'm just saying, you never know.
I will bring a box of peaches with me, because I will have
They
one.
they bring the camera. They bring the camera
I've been
through.
practicing.
They get on the boat and they be like, out the box.
Let's give out our social media, because we never give out our damn social media. Jared, go start off with you.
All right, my social media is J Master Swain. That is JAY Master Swain, and Black Panther for the Oscar.
Woo!
Let's go.
Nice. My Instagram is JoJo_Latrice. And then my Facebook is Janae Simmons.
Johnny. Yes, Jonee. Don't forget, y'all.
JONEE.
I'm at Ken Doll, which is just like the Barbie. That's why I named it. Ken Doll_JP. Get with it. Get at it. I'm not plastic and I'm not fake.
Damn.
And that's about it.
Oh, that's your tagline.
What? Ooh, that could be my tagline. Ooh, Tanya, you heard that?
Look at you.
All right, thank you all for tuning in once again. Have a wonderful night and happy Thursday to y'all.
Good night, y'all. Pull up on them.
Pull up.